Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
Good morning, Bill.
What's cracking, Mr. Peter?
Hurricanes, rain,
Oh, yeah.
houses,
Deals.
paint,
Deals.
deals.
I saw the paint that you put on the steps on the front of Commonwealth yesterday. It looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was out there yesterday afternoon and visited the boys.
Oh, yeah, huh?
Yeah, I got my fill of evidence that when I say you're fired, I'll feel good.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
What?
Telling me that they're going to be done with all the trim by yesterday afternoon, and I'm there at 3:15 in the afternoon. I left there, and Dave, my new acquisition manager, said to me, I don't think they're going to be finished with the trim by the end of the day. Matter of fact, I'd be surprised if they'll be finished with it by the end of the week, the way those guys are moving. I'm like, he's brand new, so I'm like, good observation, dude.
They showed up at 11 yesterday. I'm there painting. They showed up at 11, so I said, so you come at 11, like, how long are you going to be staying? Till 9, like last night. Oh, okay. So last night at 8:14, I drove by after I was finished work, and they were still there, lights
really?
on going, yeah.
Oh, good.
They have a job coming up Saturday, Bill.
Oh.
That's the ace in the hole. They want to get finished for something else. Now they have a reason besides being yelled at.
All right. Episode number 118, Pita.
Yeah.
The name of today's show is 30-minute talk on being tongue-tied while negotiating deal with a seller.
What do you mean, Bill?
Untie your tongue there, Peter.
What do you mean, Bill?
In this podcast, we will share with you the four crucial. I read the word. Let me start over again.
It's critically crucial.
Yeah.
Crucially critical.
Wow. Talk about being tongue-tied. In this podcast, we share with you the four crucial deal points every seven-figure investor uses. The information crammed into this episode could be the sole difference between being dirt poor or filthy rich. We laugh at
you said filthy and dirty in two different, one bad way, one good way in the same sentence. How long did it take you to come up with that?
About 45 minutes. If you're struggling to make deals, this podcast is for you. You can actually end your foot-in-the-mouth-desease today. How's that? Foot-in-the-mouth-desease today.
Sure.
And discover the most important parts of every deal and how to apply it for success. In fact, by doing what we talk about in this podcast, it will actually remove the stress from any negotiation. How's that? It's a bold promise, huh?
Bill, you know what I heard?
What?
7 figures. That's all I heard. 7
good
figures.
Old Peter. You always get right to the checkbook, don't you? We're going to take you from being called Pete the Rookie to Checkbook Pete.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so far it's write a check.
So you didn't learn this from your Italian descendants, did you?
What?
Pay attention to the money?
Oh.
Hey.
No, I learned that.
Pay me before I send Guido after you.
I learned that from the wife, the bank, the credit card, the kids. Thank God, not too many braces.
So, and I left notes on the 2 photocopies of notes on my desk. Could you grab them, please? I'm like, it's telling me that I have to discuss. I have show notes that I wrote myself, and I have to discuss some things, but they're not in front of me. And that would help if I had them, right? Yeah, they're highlighted.
If you close your eyes, do you see them?
Sometimes.
Okay.
I see way too many scary things when I close my eyes.
Open your eyes quick.
Thank you, sweetheart.
You're welcome.
All right, so the first thing I want to discuss, we're already 4 minutes in. How far are we? We haven't even started. So let's get down to business. So the first thing I want to talk about is the seller and what happens to the seller when they're selling a house. So there's like multiple points of decision making whether they're done overtly or covertly or consciously or subconsciously, they happen. Okay? So I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I am training a new acquisition manager, and that always provokes me to go into like Planet Bill, which I shouldn't do. I should just stay away from that. Is that a deal? We could stop the radio show to answer it.
I think it's your Google account is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we talk about a lot in other podcasts about being in the conversation already in the seller's head.
Right.
So I want to take a few minutes. This is not the entire show. This is just the framing or the framework of what a seven-figure investor thinks about. This is just the framework. So we're going to work on that for the next few minutes, and then we're going to get into why the questions that we ask or the things that we talk about, the 4 deal points, are so critical. Because you have to understand what's in the seller's head first. And then you can completely understand why what we do is so vital. Does that make sense?
No, it does. You're always having to talk from the other person's perspective. This is even art. Any artist out there, you always have to put yourself in the audience's shoes, the listener, the viewer. Like, what are they thinking? How can you talk to somebody? You should do that every day, just talking to people. Don't just be blabbing, yap, yap, yap.
Right.
So this is really important because you're trying to get something done.
It's funny because it's funny you say that, because the last couple of weeks I've been really thinking that, and I don't want to get sidetracked here, but I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and he had just come back from Italy, and he was talking about the buildings and the artist. What is it? The famous artist
Michelangelo.
Yeah. And how he thought that art was a lesser that pictures was a lesser form of art.
Like photos?
No, like painting pictures.
Painting. Oh,
he thought that sculpture was a higher form of art.
Huh.
But anyways, as he was talking, and this has happened to me like in the last, this happened to me about 3 or 4 times, probably in the last month. And for some reason, it strikes me, this is such an arrogant thing to say, but it strikes me as what I do, I feel like I'm a complete artist. When I'm in my zone and I'm doing deal structuring, I absolutely feel like I'm a complete artist. It's like I have a blank canvas and I grab my brush and I just start. And I was telling Dave yesterday, the new acquisition manager, that you don't make an offer. You don't make an offer. You build an offer. It's like Legos. So what you do is you keep getting information and you keep putting pieces. We had a deal the other day, a couple days ago, was a subject to deal. On the phone, I'm like, this is a deal we're going on. In fact, we printed paperwork and brought it with us because we're going to sign paperwork. And we get in the house, look at the house, we go through the whole thing to find out the wife, who isn't there, had considerations, and now it's a day and a half later and we don't have a deal. Guy's like, yeah, give me the paperwork, I'll sign it, but my wife will kill me. So it's like, so the offer had to be built around the wife's considerations.
Right.
And it wasn't. She wasn't even there. Right? So it was an hour and a half of our time just wasted. And that still happens to me. And that's one of the things that you have to understand, which is why I want you to understand what we're going to go through now. The different things that a seller is going to think consciously or subconsciously. So let's go through that, okay?
Sure. Yeah, there's things going on in their minds. And it's funny you say, I was thinking this exact same thing unconsciously. They don't always realize what they're doing because it's a lot happening. And you have to be on your toes to try to perceive what's going on and help them verbalize it so you can help them figure it out.
Right. So one of the things that, like the overall decision of what they have to do is, am I going to sell my house to an investor? That's like the first hurdle you have to get over. Like, am I, the seller's thinking, am I going to sell my house to an investor? Because there's a lot of connotation to that.
Oh, yeah. Like and investor. As soon as you hear that, I think it means something.
Buy low, sell high. Right. Then once you kind of get through that, then, there's things like when we call them, right? There's our caller ID. Right. So what's this? They'll think, what's this caller ID? What's this phone number?
You think they're saying just a phone number, or does sometimes the business name come up?
However, right? And then it's, I don't recognize it. Is it about the house?
Should I pick it up?
And especially for some people that are in trouble, and we don't deal with distressed prosperity that much, but they have, like the guy that we were in the house the other day, he stopped making one payment. So now he's like, I don't answer my phone because it's the bank calling me. Right. So especially people that are in a little bit of trouble, the first thing they start doing is cutting communication.
Yep.
So it's like they see the phone ID, and it's like, I don't recognize the number. I'm not going to answer it. Okay. Which, by the way, I don't want to get into this conversation right now. I think that's the reason why texting works so well.
Absolutely. People don't like picking up the phone and talking. They don't have to.
Right.
You can just send emails. You can send texts. You can just wait. You can go order things online. You can order pizza online after you even talk to the guy on the phone.
Right.
So it's becoming a lost art, or something people are uncomfortable with. So sure, the text.
Here's another one. Do I have time to talk to someone right now about my house? Right. Or do I feel like talking to somebody right now about my house? So the first one is, do I have time? And the second one is, do I feel like it? I know that especially like when I'm doing copywriting and stuff, when I'm in my zone, I don't feel like talking to somebody.
Yeah.
And they're important people sometimes.
Yeah. I learned that as well, something about communication. Like the first step of communication, whether you realize it or not, is get someone's attention. You can't talk to someone they're not listening. People try that.
Right.
What? I was talking to you. Well, I wasn't listening.
Right.
And then you look at somebody like, well, I can get their attention, but oh no, they're really busy right now. They're not going to give me my attention or their attention. So you can't start at least an important conversation with somebody until they're really ready.
Right.
And you want to, but you have to wait.
Right. So the next thing is once they decide to pick the phone up, right? Because at the end of the day, Peter, I know this sounds like sales stuff. It's really, I guess you could say that. But really, at the end of the day, you have to talk to a person. You have to call somebody sooner or later. If you're not willing to do that, then don't be willing to want to make $40,000. Don't think you're getting rich off of real estate.
Yeah,
because you have to talk to people. Real estate has nothing to do with houses. It has everything to do with people that own them.
Yeah, a house can't sell itself.
Right. Very good. We're going to use that metaphor. A house can't sell itself, right? So,
Bill, if you can figure that out.
Yeah, exactly. So once I decide to pick the phone up, it's like, do I like the sound of this person's voice? Right. I got a couple coaching clients. I think that's a problem. Right?
Yeah, we talked about that. Like some people are just gruff or shy, or about that. But they don't seem like confident enough to know what they're doing, or whatever that is. Sure.
Right. Here's another one. Can I understand what they're saying? And I'm not necessarily even talking about an accent. I'm just talking about too many investors do a seminar. Right?
Yeah.
So they're on the phone and they're doing a seminar. Oh, yeah, well, I could do a subject to deal, and we'll just do this, and we'll just do that, and we'll... No. They don't understand. And you and I both know that if you have a misunderstood word or symbol, you go blank right after that, so they don't hear crap after subject to. They didn't understand that.
Yeah, I get stuck kind of after 7-figure.
Right. You're back at that. Right?
Yep.
Here's another one. Do they seem professional?
Oh, sure.
Right? Your phone's blowing up this morning, Peter. Here's a big one. Are they just another realtor?
Oh, yeah. For sale by owners, that's what they expect a lot of. Sure.
Right.
So wait a minute. You can't be a realtor. You can't be an investor.
Right.
What can you be?
You.
Yeah.
Talking to another dude.
Yeah.
Or another girl.
Yeah, I'm just a guy.
Yeah. Buys houses.
I love getting the phone with people and say, I might say my name and you go, that sounds familiar. Oh, I'm the music teacher. Oh, you're a music teacher? Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I do houses. It's like my part-time, but I'm a music teacher. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
A teacher. Okay, he's not like a drug dealer or something. No.
You're not a loan shark for the mob with a name like Coca-Cola. So here's another one. how do I feel about investors? Right? For that fact, how do I feel about realtors? There's another one.
Yeah.
Right? And here's the last one in that section.
Is there anybody that... Okay, I got it. They don't like realtors. They don't like investors. You know who they like?
You.
No. Buyers.
There you go. There you go.
Because you said that, I'm the guy that buys houses.
Right.
You go, well, I want to check with, but I'm right here in front of you. I'm the buyer. I'm going to buy your house.
Why do you want to go get a realtor who's going to look for a buyer?
Yeah, when I'm right
sitting
here.
right here.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, the absolute premise of where the magic line came up. This is where it got originated.
Which one?
What would have to happen for me to buy a house today? I'm the buyer. I'm sitting right in front of you. So what would have to happen for me to buy your house today?
I see, right. 'Cause I'm the
Why
buyer.
do you want to go look for another buyer? Obviously, my offers are not conducive to your plan, right? So you have a plan to sell your house, and my offers are not matching that. So what do I have to do? Because I'm flexible. So what do I have to do to match your plan?
Right.
What do I have to do to match your idea of how this is going to go?
That makes sense.
Right? And that's where the sentence
Sounds like your
from.
train of thought. One gets you to the next.
Yeah.
What's the next thought?
That's what I was saying. The building blocks of making an offer. You don't make an offer. You build an offer.
Yeah.
You get some information. You add a building block to your offer. You get some more information. You add another building block to your offer. It's like building a wall. Brick wall. You keep putting blocks in there until sooner or later it's like it's done. And there you go. We either have a deal or we don't.
Yeah, and I've seen you do it many times, and you're so relaxed about it. I'm sitting there like, what should I do? What should I do? Or maybe I should do this. And you're just talking, and you're listening, and you're able to construct it because you're listening and you're finding out what they want.
So the last one, let's get back on track here. So the last one in that section is once they decide to pick up is are you friendly? Is the person they're talking to, meaning you, are they friendly?
Well, if they don't like you.
I can tell you honestly that I have made the most amount of my deals, hundreds, millions of dollars, I'm going to say that. Just being polite and friendly and understanding, empathetic, right? How about this one? Does this person care about what I need? Huge. I'm going through some stuff right now. I'm going away for this weekend, and I'm going to do some very expensive self-improvement. And I have friends of mine that are around me that are supposedly trying to help me, and I don't feel like they want to help me. I feel like they have their own agenda, and they're more worried about their agenda than helping me. And it's so bad at this point that I've made decisions on whether they're my friends or not.
I'm actually surprised.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard you mention that prior to this moment. I'm actually surprised.
Yeah. So, having care about somebody and helping them for what they need is probably the hugest.
Yeah.
Right? So, another one is, do I keep talking to this person? I mean, now you got to realize we're in the shoes of the seller, and these are things that could come up while you're on the phone saying blah, blah, blah. Right? Should I stay on the phone with this person? Should I keep talking to them?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How about this one? Can I trust this person?
Well, that's big.
Which just walks us right into, is this a scam? That's a big one these days, with all the, and I'm not going to go off on this tangent here, but with all these newscasters and all this governmental crap on the news all the time, all it does is it builds lack of trust. You can't even trust the people that are running our country. How can I trust the guy like going to buy my house?
Yeah.
And there's so many scandals that are publicized. The truth of the matter is that there's so many scandals that are publicized that don't have counter statistics. Like, for example, there's a terrorist attack on an airplane. Right? I'm just making it up. But how many flights a day for how many years were safe that didn't have that problem?
There's a beautiful post on Facebook, and it's completely that. You'll never hear somebody say, war did not break out in this country.
Right.
This road had no accidents at all today. You'll never hear that. So you only get the one side of the bad.
Yep.
and not all the huge amount of good.
So to your point, that that brings, can I trust this person? Is this a scam? How about this one? Ready? Does it sound like an attractive deal? Is it attractive to them? Right? The big one, what do I get out of this? Right? Should I answer their questions?
Yeah.
You see,
Well, the more you tell somebody, the more they have
an advantage,
an
unfair
advantage.
advantage.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
Right. So do you see what I'm talking about here, Peter? I mean, if you don't have this mindset when you're talking to somebody, it won't go well. Right. Now, how about the decision process? Because we need to move on here fairly quick because we're running out of time. Why do you need and want time to pay me off in full? Why can't you just give me the money now?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then they ask, well, could I give them a little time? Do I need to be paid off in full?
Say that one again?
Yeah. So do I really need the money now, or could I give them time to pay off the money in full?
They start coming around to your way of
Right.
thinking.
How long could I give them? Right? How much will I sell the house for? That's a big one. I have two families I'm buying right now, and my offer is $200,000, and he's getting cash offers of $160,000, and he's stuck to me. Right? So then it comes into some of the things we're going to talk about. Okay, so how much do I want to sell the house for? That's the first one, and then they start thinking, well, how much do I want for monthly payments?
Say the last one again.
How much do I want for monthly payments? Right? Then they start thinking, well, about down payment, if they even think that. I got to tell you from my experience, most don't think that.
And don't tell them.
Yeah. So how much do I need if I do take a down payment? The only thing the down payment is about, and we're going to talk about this in a minute towards the end of the show here. The only thing the down payment is about is security. They're looking for some recourse if you don't perform.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get past that through your actions, then they won't ask for down payment.
Right. Well, it's a confidence point. Security is confidence.
Right.
Confidence is
Right.
something you can show them by doing a good job on all the steps that you're doing right now.
Right. So then they start thinking, okay, when can I meet with this guy? Right? Are the terms we discussed acceptable to me? Right? This is just on the phone. Yeah. I mean, it could be as soon as the opening caller calling them. Right?
Mm-hmm.
When do I want to close? When am I moving out? And where am I moving to? Now, here's the important thing, is we talk about being for sale by owner agents.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is where you are guiding them. This is what a realtor doesn't do. They don't answer these questions that are going through the person's mind. They don't address these things. This is what makes us unique. This is what makes us different, is that we're going to actually consult them or console them through these processes, right?
Sure.
So when you're doing a deal with a bank or conventionally, you only have one decision to make. That's the price.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But when you're doing what we do, which we call creative financing, there's 4 decision processes that you have to get. And we've just talked about some of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is why you need to be really good at guiding the seller to a correct decision. And this is why I'm telling you that it's a building block process, right? So it's not like the bank. That's what the clarification was in my head to teach you. And I'm talking about you, Peter. I'm not talking about my listeners right now.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference is that when you do a conventional sale, there's one decision. Here's my price. Done. It's yes or no.
Right. And you can hear that when you first pull somebody up on the phone, they just say, well, how much can you pay? That's all they're thinking.
Right.
They have the one thing in their head, how much are we going to get for the house? How much are we
Right.
They don't have all the nuances, the little parts figured
Right.
out or even considered.
So the part that we have trouble with students is if you're going to talk about creative financing, You need to let them know their benefits. So like what you said earlier, get their attention first. And the number one benefit with creative financing is you always pay more. So if it's just time versus, money versus time, right? That's all it is. And we're going to talk about that in other shows, but it's money versus time. If you get the money now, you get less. If you wait, you get more. And that's the whole business. That's exactly that's our entire business.
Yeah. Well, think how much you pay for a house if you get a mortgage for 30 years.
Right.
As opposed to paying cash.
Right.
Sure.
Right. So that's what we specialize. What we specialize in is the creative financing and the ability to explain to the seller that they can get more money if they let us have time. Right. And then we take some of that time and we give sometimes all of it or sometimes a piece of it to our seller until they can get qualified for a mortgage.
The buyer?
Yes, I'm sorry, I said seller. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from the seller, we're going to get time, like say 5 years. Then when we go to sell to our buyer, right, we're going to give them some of that time, maybe 2 years, so they can get qualified. And by the way, by giving them that time, they pay a premium price for it because they know they can't get that anywhere else. Because with the realtor system or with the conventional system, there is no time.
Nope.
Right.
And if you can't get a mortgage, can't get pre-qualified, you don't have that opportunity at all.
Right. So we put them into our time machine, and we help them understand and guide them so they understand that it's the greatest good for them to do this, especially if they don't have a purpose for that money, right? So we're kind of late into the show and I want to wrap up. But the one thing that I would like to say to just kind of leave a bombshell, because I'm going to go over the 4 creative, I haven't even gone over the 4 points because they're simple. Not I've really explained all of them. I forgot what I was going to say. That's not good. So the one thing is that you need to be able to explain to somebody that time is not horrible. That when they get time, they get paid for it.
Well, people are usually on the other side of time.
Right.
Making more payments.
Right.
And losing money. I hate interest.
Right.
But they could be on the right side of time and make money on it.
Right. It's a valid point, Peter.
Just being on this flip side of it.
So what do 7-figure investors do to make sure that they make 7 figures? And here they are. The 4, and I already mentioned them. So the 4 points are: 1, they make sure when they're talking to somebody, they get a purchase price. They nail it down. Okay. 2, they get monthly payments. They figure out what the monthly payments are. 3, and this is just on creative deals. Okay. 3, they figure out the length of the term. How far can they go? And 4, how much do I have to give you for a down payment or option deposit? So when you stay focused, this is kind of like when we talk about doing deal structuring. It's like money now, money monthly, money later. If you keep that rhythm, then you'll make good deals. When you're talking to sellers as an investor or as a creative finance specialist, okay, you need to keep these 4 points in place. These are like the pivot points. Like, do I have a purchase price? Have we nailed the purchase price? Now, by the way, you can get this. We have a little mini course that's, I think, $97, I think. I think it's $97. It's what we call a quick start, right?
With coupons, it's 97.
Yeah, so I think it's regular $130, and if you hear about it from me, we give you a coupon. So it's like $97. And you can get that at flippinghousesforrookies.com/quick start. All right, so just go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/quick start. And it actually has a checklist of how to do this. There's a 45-minute audio file or video, however you like it. And there's a transcript if you like to read it that way. And an actual checklist of how to do this step by step. Okay? But basically what happens is you settle on price first. You don't talk about, and Peter, I can't emphasize enough. I can go another hour and a half just talking about all my experience with my clients and my coaching clients and my students. And I hear them on the phone. They send me recordings. I make them record themselves and send them in to me so I can hear them. Or I'll be on the phone with them and hear them.
Mm-hmm.
It is so confusing to me, because to me it's very simple. But that's the difference between...
It starts confusing and it gets simple with time and practice. It's the only way. Everything's like that.
That's the reason why I do 7 figures.
Yeah. Well, you have to get to that point.
Yeah. So the point is this, that you settle on a purchase price first. You don't go any further. You don't talk about anything else. You just talk about the purchase price.
Mm-hmm.
Once you resolve that and come to an agreement, you then move on to your monthly payment. And then you don't talk about anything else. You just talk about the monthly payment. Unless, of course, the monthly payment needs to be negotiated, sometimes you go back to price. You can always go backwards. You don't go forwards, because you already talked about it. You know, like, for example, I want to pay $1,300 a month, and they want $1,500 a month or $1,600 a month. I might say, well, instead of paying you $130, I can only pay you $120, but I'll pay you the $1,600 a month.
Right.
That's going backwards.
Yeah, everything's negotiable.
Right.
A little give and take.
Yeah. And then the third thing is the length of the term, which again can go backwards. It can't go forward. So once you got the price procured, you go to the payment, and then once you get the payment procured, you go to how much time are they going to give me. And again, it works the same way. It's like, okay, well, if you want me to go only 3 years, I'll pay you $1,300 a month. But if you let me go 9 years or 10 years, I'll pay you $1,500 a month.
Is it easier to change the overall amount or the monthly payment in that kind of situation? I was expecting you to say the overall amount.
No, it doesn't matter.
Could be either one.
Yeah, because it depends on what kind of a deal it is. Is because there's only 2 ways to make money in real estate, and that's on the equity, buy low, sell high, or on the cash flow.
Right.
So depending on which way you're structuring the deal, and again, these questions, which by the way, I want to give those questions credit to where credit is due. Let me see the book. The Wolf couple, Brian and Lynette Wolf, who work with Ron LeGrand, came out with a book called The Flipping Side of Flipping, right?
Yep.
It's a fairly new book, and you'll find some of these questions in there. I mean, some are theirs and some are mine. Em, could you put in the chat of Facebook the link for The Flipping Side of Flipping from the Wolf couple? Great book. You should go check it out. It's brand new. I mean, we're in October of 2018, and it just came out, I think, this month or last month. So you should go check those out. Okay. The last thing is, so we discussed the purchase price, and then we handled the monthly payment, and then the length of term, and then the last thing is the down payment. And I don't talk about down payment ever, never. And it's an amazing thing to me because nobody asks for it. I tell them, here's what I'm going to do. I'll give you a $100 deposit. Matter of fact, I don't even tell them I'm going to give them a $100 deposit until we do the paperwork. I just leave that out until it's time to sign on the dotted line. So it's like, oh, by the way, here's a check for $100 because if I don't give this to you, then we don't have a legal contract.
But you say you're going to sign an option agreement?
Sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't. I just wait. They don't want the details.
No.
They just want to know that it's legal. Now, lately we're running into a rash of I want to give it to my attorney, and I want to show it to this one. Like, for example, we have your Fred guy, right? That he. Anyways, my point is that I'm finding lately more that I gotta use the contracts that I draft in negotiations, which is something new. Like this multi-family house, I'm buying two family houses. He went to his attorney, and the attorney's like, "You can't do that." And I'm like, "Okay." So now I'm into my attorney drafting $200-300 worth of documents as the negotiating point. And it's kind of sticky because it's like I pay my attorney $300, and he says no. Now what do I do? You know what I mean? So there's a funny point there.
Yeah.
But that's happening more and more. Okay. So Here we go. I'm going to read the description again. So in this podcast, we will share with you the 4 crucial deal points every 7-figure investor uses. The information crammed into this episode could be the sole difference between being dirt poor or filthy rich. Peter's saying there. If you are struggling to make deals, this podcast is for you. You can actually end your foot-in-the-mouth disease today and discover the most important parts of every deal and how to apply it for success. In fact, by doing what we're talking about in this, actually remove stress from the negotiation. And that last stress part is just knowing that you got to do the first 4 steps. You know, you work on the purchase price, you close that. You work on the monthly payment, you close that. You work on the length of term, you close that, and then you get into whether you're going to give them a down payment or not.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen you do it many times. It's just, how can you do more than one thing at a time? This is difficult enough, and it's hard for the person to listen. They might be under some stressful situation. Just give them one thing at a time.
Right.
I mean, you never give like 4 offers at once. It's, how about if we do this?
Right. So I know that we're way into we're 4 or 5 minutes over our 30 minutes. The last thing I want to say is that we have a new podcast coming. It's called Flipping Houses Startup Bootcamp. This podcast is completely, utterly, absolutely designed to start from the very beginning, a little bit of time blocking and mindset, all the way through what step do I do next. Okay, so it's a sequential thing. It's like, do this step, and the way it's going to be set up is we're going to actually release it. Emma says we're going to release it twice a week. We're still working on days. She's saying Wednesdays and Fridays. And the reason why is that you actually listen to the podcast, which will be 30 minutes each. You listen to the podcast and then go do something for a day or two. And then listen to the podcast and go do something for a day or two. Behind it, we have a private Facebook page that you can ask all your questions. This is probably the best way to get coaching from me without paying huge money. Now, it's not going to replace my coaching program by all means, because there's going to be a certain point where I'm just going to not be able to help you unless you're in a coaching program. Okay? But the point is you can get started. Okay? You can find that it's not all up and running. I want to just give you the URL so that when it gets up and running in a couple of weeks, you'll have it. It's flippinghousesforrookies.com/, what is it? Startup Bootcamp. I'm sorry, Startup Bootcamp. So it's /Startup Bootcamp. Last thing I want to say is that Emma has done an amazing job of creating a new tool. It's called Free Stuff. So it's flippinghousesforrookies.com /free stuff. I know that over the 118 shows, I've confused people because we have all these special URLs, like where to get the documents like the FSBO script and lease option explained and, you know, all these different tools that we use, and it's like too confusing. Not anymore. Just go to flippinghousesforrookies.com /free stuff. Everything's in one place. My 7 deals, how I explain my 7 deals, all the documents that we've given away, the scripts, everything is just in one place. You go to that one page, you click on what you want, and you get it. So we've really done a good job of simplifying things. It's taken me 2 years to do it, but you'll be very happy with it when you go there. So we should go check it out. And the last thing is we've had a lot of a tremendous boost in our reviews. So if you like these podcasts, especially since we've changed the format and we're down to 30 minutes, please go give us a review. You can find that at flippinghousesforrookies.com /iTunes review. iTunes review. So just go there or just go to flippinghousesforrookies.com /podcast, and there's a link there. Either way. So that's a lot of information at the end. But that's the price you have to pay when I don't have sponsors, because I'm my own sponsor. So there you go. Right, Peter?
I like it.
Good.
I like the free stuff.
Oh, my God.
Because, no, I have friends that, I'm interested in real estate. I don't even know which URL to send them to.
Just send them to that.
Yeah, now it's easy. Free stuff. And I can sit down on my own computer, say, come here, sit down, and find things for them and get them going.
Yeah, there's and we keep adding to it. There's videos. Like next week, I think what we're going to talk about is, we were talking about earlier, the 4 points of negotiating.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think we're going to talk about that next week, and I'll actually create a document and I'll upload it to the free stuff.
Yeah.
So I put, a lot of notes and stuff there.
Yeah, that was powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's.
You know,
gonna
when
be
you
good.
hit something right, you're like, duh.
Yeah.
Why didn't we figure that out like yesterday?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like exactly right on money, right on the money.
Right.
Seven
So
figures.
So sorry, yeah, 7 figures. Sorry we took an extra 7 minutes of your time, but it's just because we wanted to put our commercial in there. So hope you enjoyed today's show. If you have any questions, you can send me an support ticket or an email to bill@flippinghousesforrookies.com, and I will. Yeah. Or go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/support, Emma says. And you can get to me and ask any questions you want. I personally answer all the emails. All right? Over and out. See you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.